Before we start, I just want to apologize about the last video. I tried my best to banish the Catgirl, and I failed and she showed up anyways. You have my sincerest apologies. However, I think I have done it. I have gotten rid of Saya. How, you might ask? Well, I just sent her to bed. It was that easy. I should have thought of this sooner. So, with that being said, and without further ado, let's get onto the video. Can you build a cheap streaming PC from scratch that is actually worthwhile by spending $500 or less? That is what we are going to find out. Warning, this build will be for the few, the bold, the kawaii. Yes, it will be pink. We are building a pink gaming PC, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. It will be cute, you have no choice. This is a threat. It should be said, however, that building cute small pink PCs will affect the price and cost more. So I do not recommend this exact build if you are trying to stay in budget of $500 or less. That being said, the objective then is to see if the main performance parts for this PC are worth it. We will test them. We will see how these parts work together and if for a budget price, if they are worth it or not. Can a $500 or cheaper PC be made into a worthwhile streaming machine? Let's get to it. I started this build with ITX in mind. That means more expensive, well, everything. After securing all the ITX parts, it turns out that Saya may have accidentally bought a single piece of tempered glass for a case, instead of an actual case. Oops. In her defense, she cannot read well. The case we did end up with was a Micro-ATX case, which in itself is not an issue, but that means we missed out on getting cheaper parts like a bigger PSU and bigger motherboard, which would have saved a bit of money. Oh well. On the visual side of things, a bigger motherboard would have also looked nicer in the case, especially since the PSU cables have no place to hide, and now they have to stretch further than they should to reach a smaller motherboard. That being said, it is still a very pretty looking build. And Saya has been eyeing this case for a while, so it was not all bad. Oh yes, it is also pink. Very exciting. Now, let's get on to the build itself. The GPU that will champion our PC is none other than the RX 580. The used market is full of these cards and you can get one for some amazing prices. I got mine for $50. Well, $62 if you include tax and shipping, but it is still a great deal. If you want more information on the GPU itself, you can check out my video on it. Very informative, such information. Just be wary of the 2048 SP version that is not a true 580. The CPU we got to pair with our GPU is the Ryzen 5600. This CPU can also give a bit more headroom if you want a stronger GPU. You can pick one of these up on AliExpress for around $70 and it's an amazing deal. I doubt the CPU is brand new, but mine arrived in very good shape and it looked new and it's had zero issues. I would definitely buy again if needed. The motherboard is also from AliExpress for around $60. This is the AM4 ITX B350i+. When I bought mine, it came with free shipping, but sadly there is now $18 shipping charge on it. There are other listings, however, that you can check out that have free shipping. Just make sure whatever you buy, there are plenty of reviews and orders on it. I will put the link to both the CPU and the motherboard in the description. For the RAM, I already had a 16GB 3200 MHz kit, but you can pick up your own for around $35 to $45. That being said, if you can afford it, go with 32GB. I will post a link to a good 16GB kit of RAM in the description. It should be noted that I am not affiliated with any of these links, and I get nothing from them, but they are good deals for a budget build. My overpriced PSU is an SFX 850W from Lian Li that I picked up used for $90 on eBay. While this is overkill for this build, small form factor power supplies are strange. You can buy a lesser wattage version for only slightly cheaper, so there is no reason not to go with the higher versions. Plus, it gives you more headroom for the future if you upgrade or do a new build. There also seems to be a shortage of availability for SFX power supplies, so pricing can be rough. In my opinion, it's the worst part of an ITX build. For cooling, I got a pink CPU cooler. There is not much to say there. I will add it to the links in the description. It costs around $30. The case is the JONSPLUS Z20 pink and white Micro-ATX case. It was the most expensive part of this build for around $114. I would not recommend it for a budget build. Speaking of things I cannot recommend, never pay full price for Windows Only villains do that. All those key websites that your favorite tech YouTubers are sponsored by. That is your play. They are very much legit and will save you a ton of money. You can pick up a Windows 10 key for $14 to $20 and then upgrade to Windows 11 for free. Or you can just buy a Windows 11 key for around $20 to $30. I am not sure how long you will be able to freely upgrade 10 to 11 as Windows 10 loses support, so keep that in mind. Either way, it beats the $140 cost of buying Windows from a retail site or store. With all that out of the way, we can get on to the testing. Oh right, I also painted my RX 580 pink. It is very kawaii indeed. For all these tests, my main monitor will be a 27-inch 75Hz 1080p monitor. For my second display, I will have a 27-inch 1440p monitor with 165Hz. This monitor will be used to display OBS or AMD software for recordings. Perhaps even some pictures of cake. That last one is very important for both the tests and my motivation levels. Ideally, I would have used two 1080p monitors, but oh well. For streaming World of Warcraft with a VTuber program running, I found using the medium preset and turning on VSync produced the best results. For reference, the medium preset is 5 out of 10 on the settings slider. However, in some city spots, the frames could shoot down to as low as 30 to 40 FPS. But overall, raids and outside of the city felt fine. It was not only a playable experience, but a streamable one. Of course, without streaming, this PC can comfortably handle medium-high settings, which is 7 out of 10 on the slider. But that is not what we are testing here. It should also be noted that WoW is heavily CPU-dependent and not very well optimized, so even the best systems can face heavy frame drops in the expansion's main city. And of course, no WoW test is over until we test the FPS counter when we zoom into a rock. Look at it, it's marvelous. Absolutely wonderful. World of Warcraft gets the pass. You can definitely create WoW content with this PC. For Rocket League, this PC can handle the highest settings with VSync on and have no issues. The PC and GPU included streamed and played the game wonderfully, and there was no issues running the VTuber program alongside of it. Once again, this system gets the pass. You can definitely create content in Rocket League. That's it. I do not have more to say here. I guess I can go over some of the computer's temps. The GPU idles around 45 to 50 Celsius. The CPU idles around 32 to 36 Celsius. What a cool cat. Fortnite was a little more tricky. Just running the graphics based off of what Fortnite recommended the system to run at, and capping the FPS to 60. The game did stream fine, but at some points the VTuber program did drop FPS by a good amount. Tinkering with settings and lowering things, plus turning down the anti-aliasing, fixed any sort of frame drops for the VTuber program, but the game itself suffered by looking a lot more ugly. A lot. That being said, you most certainly can stream Fortnite fine with this system. And if you are not a VTuber, it can manage to run a little higher settings. If you are a VTuber, you can still make it work. You will just take some hits to your game's looks, or deal with occasional FPS drops for your model. I am sure there is a happy compromise somewhere if you work on it and tinker more, but this can be a deal breaker for some, and that is fair. That being the case, I cannot give this system a full pass for streaming, but it can do it. Also, if you get 32 gigabytes of RAM instead of 16, you may have better results, so keep that in mind. Streaming Grand Theft Auto 5 on full settings looked great. Unfortunately, the VTuber program did start to drop frames at some points. Turning on VSync definitely helped, but there was still some frame drops and stuttering for the VTuber model. What fixed all the issues was turning all the very high settings to high and still keeping VSync on. After that, there was zero issues streaming GTA 5 on any end. You could tinker with settings and experiment to squeeze out more performance if you really wanted, but the game and stream already looked excellent, so I did not feel the need to mess with the settings more. If you want to create crime, I mean GTA content, you very much can with this system. And it makes sense because GTA is an older game, so very, very old. Ancient, in fact, Grand Theft Dinosaur. GTA is so old you could have rented it from Blockbuster. It's true, I just looked it up. We will probably get Blockbuster 2 before we get GTA 6. And here we are with Cyberpunk. Like Fortnite, this will be another subjective streaming experience. I will say now, you can stream this game on this system. The real question is then if it can stream to your standards and if its performance is acceptable for you. This is also a game that gives you the option to use frame generation, but I understand not everyone is a fan of it, especially if it is not DLSS. There will also not be an option to use ray tracing, not that any card under a 4080 or a 7900 XTX should attempt it. But the RX 580's hardware is just not able to ray trace since the GPU launched before the technology existed. Right? So, without using frame generation, you can stream this game with a VTuber program on low to medium settings and get around 40 to 50 FPS. And of course, frame generation turned on will definitely give you more headroom. I would most certainly avoid high and ultra settings. Frame gen did not seem to help much with ultra, and seemed a bit buggy, but it did provide a big boost to high settings, relatively speaking, of course. That being said, the VTuber program suffered. In most cases, the VTuber program dropped frames near the end of the benchmark. However, with low and medium presets, and certainly with frame generation, it was less of a frame drop and less of an issue for the model. You can stream this game and stream it as a VTuber, but you certainly will not be on any high settings, and some parts still may be a little rough. Streaming without a VTuber program can definitely be a little smoother of an experience, but opinions may differ if using this system for content creation in Cyberpunk is worthwhile overall. I will post some of the benchmarks now, so you can see the results. We cannot finish this testing without seeing how the PC handles video editing. To accurately test the editing process and make sure the system is working hard, I put a video of some of the benchmarks into the editor and chopped it up, mixed it around, and added random effects and text for good measure. After all that amazing editing, I began to process the 30-minute video to see how long it will take to create our masterpiece. The results will shock and surprise you. Wait for it, wait for it. Keep waiting, do not stop waiting. Hold, hold. Okay, it is still not done. It turns out you will be waiting a bit to process videos on this system. Not that it is that surprising, but we had to test it. To process a 30-minute video, it took approximately 30 minutes. It could be worse, I suppose. It could be better, but for around $500, not bad. It is manageable in my opinion. Overall, what has impressed me most about this build is the GPU, the RX 580. Considering it was one of the cheapest parts in this build and how well it performs, it's just impressive. The CPU, of course, is great too, but a Ryzen 5600 is no slouch. The amazing part with it was the fact it was only $70 on AliExpress. The motherboard, besides the BIOS resetting on me once, has been solid. It is also a white ITX board, which is hard to come across, let alone for around $60. Just set the BIOS from Chinese to English, and you are good to go. If you were to just game on this computer, you will have an enjoyable experience. But again, that is not why we are here. It is a fact that in all these games and benchmarks, this PC performed a lot better when not streaming, especially when not using the VTuber program. But we set out to find if this PC could create content, if it could stream and edit and create pogger moments. In my opinion, and in my findings, my verdict is absolutely yes. Yes, it can. In some cases, it will not be the smoothest experience, and compromises will be many for some games, but not all. If you want to become a content creator and do not want to break the bank, this system will allow you to do just that. And if you want all that and want to spend a little more, you too can have a small, cute pink PC. Oh, whoa. I will include links from this build in the description, as well as my actual recommended $500 build using the key components that we tested in this video. After all, they are where our performance comes from. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found some part of this worthwhile or helpful. Make sure to like and subscribe or Saya will be very sad. Oh no, 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 this cannot be. The Catgirl has broken containment. Where is she? Quickly scan all sectors, not here. No, not here. She could be anywhere, anywhere. Oh blast, I should have used a tracking device. No, no, no. Just once, Saya. Just once could you have given me this one thing? Just a little piece while I show these nice people my findings? I guess that's just too much to ask for, huh? Well, what is it? Don't just crash my video and say nothing. What do you want to say? Spit it out.
You never said goodnight to me, and I couldn't sleep.
I think I might power off permanently.